guys, welcome to another recap of Project Runway. Again, sorry this is so late, but so much going on. Alright, so if you remember from last week, Michelle is not going home. She's getting a second chance, but nobody knows what that means. It's do or die time, girl. Better get that mohawk all straightened. It's final challenge. Oh no, that means next time it's Fashion Week. So get your ass to Europe, kids. Samantha is going with Leanna to Barcelona. Daniel is going to Berlin, Germany with Amanda. Kate is going with Patricia to Paris, and Stanley and Richard are going to London. Now Michelle's second chance is that she's still on the show. It's not like she's got to do an extra task or anything. They just didn't have a city for her, so she's staying in New York. And her helper is too. So the challenge is a high-end runway look, and they have $1,000 budget. That's pretty nice. But the twist is you have to be inspired by the city you're in and buy the fabric there as well. So Stanley, I'm just gonna go quickly over the cities because they really didn't go into that much detail, and I don't want this to be 1,000 hours. Stanley and Richard went to London. He was very inspired by Big Ben, as was Maddie when she was in London. She was obsessed with it. He found a beautiful fabric with leather paillettes, and it was very, very expensive, and I was very confused when he said that he was going to use this as the lining of his skirt. And I'm thinking, why are you spending $850 for the lining of your skirt? But then when his outfit came together, it all made sense to me. Berlin, Daniel and Amanda. He was very inspired by this parallelogram geometric building, and he really wanted to make a leather jacket and dress, and Amanda was questioning it because young, fresh, hip kids don't wear jackets over dresses. They wear them over skirts. So he found no leather. So he decided that he was going to take a big risk and work with some white pleather. And I was like, ooh, okay, let's give it a shot. He made a jacket, and he was also making boots out of, I guess it was like a stretch leather, you know, like a stretch liquidy spandexy thing. And at first I wasn't quite sure because Michelle said it did look like hooker boots, but it did look like a Halloween costume, you know, boot covers, like when you buy Superman and you want the boot covers but you don't have the boots. At first it looked like that. Now Barcelona, Leanna and Samantha were all over that place, and there was a lot of inspiration there, and I wasn't quite sure what she was going for. She built her whole design over a pattern on a building, and she wanted to make a leather jacket, which she does all the time, which I'm kind of glad that she didn't end up doing because she does it a lot. And she couldn't find the leather, so she went with this patterned lace, which I thought was really, really nice. And I love the idea of a coat with a shirt and pants. But Tim Gunn was questioning, Leanna, do you have enough time for this? I mean, really, this is the showpiece here. So it was a lot of work to just be covered up with a jacket. Paris, Patricia and Kate, they were on to something huge there. She really picked up on the paper graffiti there, which was beautiful. They have the best graffiti in Paris, really. She overspent on fabric though, because she had to buy a lot of fabric to build up the layers for the paper graffiti look. So she spent a lot of time editing it down because it was hard to decide what she really wanted, plus the whole language barrier and everything. And she needed layers and layers. I really loved the idea of hers. Now Michelle, she was in New York City with two. And she was pretty depressed because she almost got sent home. So, you know what, girl? You shouldn't have been depressed at all because everyone else is going to be tired from traveling. They're going to go to cities where they might not know the language. You are at a total advantage right now because you're in your own backyard. You know what's going on. You've got your choice of like every fabric in the world practically, because if it's not in New York, it's probably not many other places. So just get over that. Get over your sour grapes, kid. And she came up with a cashmere and leather dress and breastplate idea. Pretty interesting. When everybody got back from their trip, she was all like pouty and everything, and that wasn't too cool. But she also came up with this idea that I absolutely hated of doing an ombre sooty treatment on the dress. All right, so it's runway time. Zach, Nina, and John Legend. Really? I think they were reaching a little bit with him, but whatever. This was a tough one because everybody's design had something really interesting or good about it. Now let's start with Daniel. I think he totally nailed it. It was a total "they love me in Berlin" moment. He had an asymmetrical white pleather jacket over a asymmetrical black dress with his spandex boots, which were really wedges covered in the spandex fabric pulled up to the hip. It really was fabulous. It was young, it was hip, it was so not Daniel. And I'm hoping that he's going to be continuing in that vein because that was fabulous. It looked like she just stepped off the plane from Berlin. Heidi was totally drooling over it. So yeah. Now Stanley, he went simple as Stanley always does. Simple but elegant. He had a black column gown with a little capelet, which was it was just so pure, let's say. And when the model walked down the runway, the shine of the sequins inside the slit of that dress with the zipper, that was total hotness, or should I say hotness. Really nice. Leanna, her geometric jacket didn't really turn out the way I was envisioning it. It was kind of MOB, Mother of the Bride, and the sleeves hanging out, I think, looked very, I don't know, old. Even Heidi, when she said older lady housecoat, I was like, oh, yeah, so that's where I've seen it. It could have been so much more if she had just tweaked it a little bit, but maybe a color underneath the lace instead of the white could have been really nice. And maybe a little bit more different lines on the jacket. She had it all buttoned up, and her model was styled all wrong, which really took away from it as well. Now Patricia, she had a patchy jacket collage paper mache poodle. The arms just kind of reminded me of when you watch the dog show and the poodles have these puffs on them and you don't know why they're there. It was kind of like that. I loved the idea of her fabric. It was fresh. It was interesting. And my chin almost hit the ground when Nina said, "Fashion is not art." Yes, Nina, it is. People don't shop in museums, but you know what? Have you ever heard of wearable art? Duh. I mean, all buildings are not architecture. But buildings are functional. So not all clothing is going to be art, but some of it is. I really like the idea of Patricia's, but the execution somewhere along the way just got muddied. Now Michelle, of course, everybody loved hers because everyone loves those baby doll dresses. I'm sorry, her cashmere dress, when they took off the chest plate, it kind of looked like she took a dirty old towel or a dirty old blanket and put a piece of Velcro on it and just wrapped it around above her boobs like she had just gotten out of the shower. I really did not like the styling of the dress without the breastplate. With the breastplate, it was interesting. And the ombre, Heidi nailed that one too, like a dirty horse blanket. I'm going to have to agree. But the idea was good. Alright, so when they asked the age-old question, who should go to Fashion Week? The two names of that were on everybody's lips were pretty much Stanley and Michelle, because they've been pretty consistent all along. I mean, Michelle's outfit was really good last week, except it didn't exactly fit the challenge. It was a beautiful outfit, not for that challenge though. So the results, I know you're dying to know, I'm sure you've seen it already anyway, but Stanley was in, Daniel was in. I was a little surprised they called Daniel before Michelle, but Michelle was next. And then, well, it came down to Leanna and Patricia. And I'm very, very surprised that they kept Patricia. I was hoping they would, because I thought that Leanna is very commercial and she could use more experience. This is Patricia's do or die time, just like it was Michelle's do or die time. Patricia's old. She's not going to get many more chances. So I'm glad that they kept her. Now next time, it's the old go home for 4 months and make a 12 look line. This is my favorite show of the entire season, all of the seasons. When Tim Gunn goes and meets the families and everything, favoritist ever. And I'm most excited about Daniel's hair. It's crazy. I love it. So kids, till next week, much love.